Hi there, my name is Dennis Hogan from Discovery at Peak. Very much delighted to be part of Heads and Hearts Wellness Initiative as part of Barefoot Yoga. What motivated me to get involved in ultra fitness activities was, I suppose, from the time I suffered from sarcoid 12 years ago, and I went from being an average 29-year-old to were involved in various sports and to doing the odd marathon, and then eventually I like I said, I got sarcoid and I ballooned in weight. I was fatigued, I was on steroids for a year and a half, and that triggered, I suppose, not to be taking fitness and everyday tasks such as climbing the stairs or walking the stairs or picking up a pen, etc. For granted. And as part of, I suppose, recovering from that and doing a marathon, I wanted to really push the body a little bit more, and very much became part of an everyday journey. I began my journey, I suppose, if I go back to my first marathon when I was 18, and like most, have notions of being young and naive, and a lot of friends at the time agreed to do it with me and then pulled out, so I ended up doing it on my own. And that feeling of crossing the finish line has stuck with me ever since, of personal pride and accomplishment. And I suppose I just continue that. And like I said, when I got sick there with sarcoid, that kind of, I suppose, reset me and not to take it for granted. And that's what really started the journey of seeing how much further I could go and how fitter I could get. The advice I would have is to stick to a plan, which is easier said than done, but to be consistent and not to overthink on whether it be pace or distance, and ultimately not to worry too much about what people are thinking, because you need to remember every runner, no matter what stage they're in, was a beginner at some point. So I'd say, if you're starting, is stick to a plan and start off where you're doing light intervals where it's comfortable for you to run for 30 seconds, jog for 90, and do that repeatedly, and then build it up over the coming weeks. But the main thing I'd be advising is to stay consistent, and if it means repeating a certain workout for a second week, go at your pace. That's the advice I'd give. Setting a goal is very important for a number of reasons, but ultimately because the brain loves clarity on having an outcome. So goals give your training direction, and they also give your effort meaning, which is important, because if you don't have something to strive towards, that's when it's easy for you to kind of fall off the wagon or come off course in terms of your training plan. So and goals don't need to be big, they can be small mini goals along the way, and that's important to be celebrating them and acknowledging them, because they in turn then reinforce your behaviour and your motivation to continue on and basically pursue the bigger goal that you have. It's not easy, and there are times, like any athlete will tell you, where there's self-doubt that creeps in, but one of the things I do is I have what's called mental anchors, and again, they're like, I suppose the best analogy I can give is is when you're in a gym and you're lifting a weight, and every negative thought is a rep. So it's recognizing the negative thought first and foremost, and then it's bringing yourself back to either the why are you doing this, and what's the purpose of it, and what's your goal, and then as the cliche goes, and saying going is trusting the process. But for me, it's very much around the self-talk, and bring myself back to what am I doing, instead of words like I can't do this or I'm too tired. I just bring it back to simple things like be where I am or be where my feet are, and whether it be to get to the next lamppost or get to the next sign or to the next corner or whatever, I suppose is within a reasonable distance and achievable, and then just continue on from there. And I also have a thing where I say one rep, one thought. So if it's one stride, you try to bring it back to one thought and not to be overthinking too much on whether the body's fatiguing or you can't do this, etc. Failure is inevitable, and I suppose one of the things I'd be looking back on is I very quickly adapted what I'd call a scientist mindset, which is, every race or every training is an experiment, and it's very much around not putting too much focus onto the overall outcome, but taking the learnings from the failures along the way, or whether it be in a particular race or event, is right, I didn't achieve what I set out to do, whether it be DNF or I didn't achieve the goal that I originally set, but what if I was to do this again next week or tomorrow, what are the learnings I'll take from that failure and how could I implement them? And they can be something as simple, whether it be around nutrition, whether it be around movement, whether it be around pace, again, self-talk. So they're all the things that I would say help with failure. And the other thing I'd say is, failure, you should become comfortable with failure, because if you're not failing, as they say, you're not progressing. So if you're sitting on the couch and you're wondering where you're going to get started, this is the right place, because over the next few weeks we're going to give you a training plan that you can follow to get you from couch to 5k. So the advice I'd give to starting off is, one, like I said, is don't overthink it. Don't get too worried about what other people are going to be thinking when you're out running, or what you're going to wear. First and foremost, wear comfortable shoes and comfortable clothing that you're comfortable in. Like I said, every runner at any stage was once a beginner. After that, then you need to look at what fits around your schedule in terms of your time commitments, whether it be around work, whether it be around family, etc., and say, right, well, where can I commit no more than 45 minutes to an hour twice a week over the next 4 weeks, whether it be in the morning, afternoon, evening. Again, it needs to work for you, because the key thing here is that you can build in a consistent routine. After that, then, is very much around week 1, is where you would start off with 30 seconds of light jogging, and then you would do 90 seconds of recovery, which is brisk walking, and then 30 seconds again, and you repeat that for as long as you possibly can, for 10, 12, 15 minutes. That's all you need to do. Okay, so 30 seconds running, jogging at your pace, comfortable enough where you can actually have a conversation with somebody. If you're running too fast and you can't have a conversation, you're doing too much, and what will happen is you'll burn up too much energy, and that's where you'd say this is too hard. So slow and steady, and starting off again in week 1. And week 2, then you would bring that up, and you would start off with 60 seconds of running, and then 30 seconds of rest for the 2 runs. And again, you'd repeat that for no more than 15 to 20 minutes maximum, on and off. And if you need to take longer rest periods during that, by all means do that. If you feel that you can do a little bit more, or if you want to run, because some people like it when they get going, they want to keep going. So if you want to run for more than 60 seconds, then you can do that for run for 2 minutes, or jog for 2 minutes, and then recover for a minute and a half. The main thing is that you gradually build up in the intervals. So again, 15-20 minutes max on that. And again, what I'd be suggesting for this is you do it on a flat or road surface, to prevent any injuries. Week 3, then, I suppose, is where we start to build up a bit of momentum. So this is where you would start to run for 3 or 4 minutes at a time, and then you would take 2 or 3 minutes recovery, and you'd do that for 25 minutes on and off. So 3 minutes running, 2 minutes recovery, 3 minutes running, 2 minutes recovery. And then as you come towards the end, because again, you should be fatiguing, if you need to increase your recovery time, you can do that. But the main thing is that you gradually build up the repetitions, and you stay moving for that length of time. And again, what you'll find is actually it's not the legs that we're actually training, it's actually the blood flow in the lungs, and that's what we want to build up, is that circulation, and that will help as we go into week 4. So week 4 then is very much around going and running or jogging for 6 or 7 minutes at a time, and then taking a 2 or 3 minute rest period, and then doing that for 3 or 4 minutes. After that then, as we work into week 5, you should be in a place where you can comfortably run at a really nice, easy pace, whether it be 6.5, 7 minute kilometers without stopping. And when I say without stopping, if you need to slow down into a slow jog, then we do that, because again, it's just getting heart rate and the blood flow going through and getting the breathing right. But there's there's a lot of things that can be done to help you along the way. And this is where everyday, I suppose, activities can help. So if you're walking the stairs, it's not just walking the stairs, you're actually helping building up the hip flexors and the cardio that goes with that. So don't be underestimating if you're out and about and just doing daily activities, that they are all part of your training program. Okay, the other part of it is, like I said, when you put the 4 to 5 weeks plan in place, is consistency is what will get you towards the end goal. If you're somebody that's already completed a marathon and feel that you've more in the tank and that you're looking for that next challenge and looking at ultra runs, whether it be on road or whether it be on trails, the first thing I'd say to you is, do not underestimate the difference in the challenge that faces you, because a marathon versus an ultra marathon are two completely different things. One of the things about running an ultra marathon is that you need to be fully aware and tuned in to the distance that you're going to cover, because unlike a marathon where it's 42k, there's a lot of other factors to take in when you're running an ultra marathon, particularly more around nutrition, strategy, pace, how much incline, decline is involved. But one of the things I would say to you from my own experience is, when I started the Wicklow Way, there's all these small things, and the first thing and the first bit of advice I was given that still stands to me today was that when you come across an issue, deal with it straight away. So if you're only 5k into a race and you start having a bit of chafing, or you have some nutritional, you already feel hunger, or your lace, or there's something wrong with your shoe or your gear, you need to address it straight away. That would be the first thing. The second thing then would be that you need to recce the route. So if you're planning on doing a race and you route, you need to get out and recce it, because that will ultimately make the difference on whether you're going to complete it or not, because you're not wasting any time and energy and wondering if you're going in the right direction or after taking a wrong turn, and you know what to expect, and again, that will help feed into your race strategy. The other thing then is, if you're looking to go 50k above, and again, when I've done the Wicklow Way numerous times, one of the key things is to experiment. Every train run has to be an experiment, because you need to train your gut first and foremost, because you're going to be fueling your body a lot more, and you need to know exactly what basically fuels you, because each individual is different. And yeah, there'll be certain things. So for example, one of the things is you could take all the gels in the world, and through experience then I learned to actually fuel the body a lot more naturally. And believe it or not, amongst all of the energy drinks, the best drink that actually can fuel it and give you a good hit is Coca-Cola, because of the sugar that's in it and the instant hit you get from it. So again, what I'd be saying is, experiment with your training runs, and making sure that when you go out on them really long runs, if you're going 20, 30k as a part of a training run, you need to be experimenting with what works for you, and again, doing it consistently. So you need to get in 2 or 3 of them runs, and then fueling your body at different stages and seeing, this worked well. So for example, I know at 18k, that's usually when I start to kind of bonk, and when I start to feel low on fuel. So I start to try basically fuel myself in around 15k, so I'm actually not waiting for that to happen, and that allows me then to go on to 27, 28 before I need to refuel again. So that's the best piece of advice I'd give, is to make sure that you don't underestimate the challenge that you're going to take on, but trust me, it's very rewarding, regardless of the outcome. The second thing then is to make sure you recce it, and the third thing is make sure that every training run that you do, that you are experimenting with your gear and more so your nutrition. So as part of the Heads and Hearts initiative, I'll be doing some more videos to support you along the way, both on the Couch to 5k as well as anyone that's looking to do a marathon stroke ultra marathon. So if you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to click on the tab below, and we'll get back to you in the next few weeks with other upcoming videos.